Good morning, everyone, and welcome to Environmental Coffee House. This morning, since we're going to start talking about the New York Times, I figured, well, I have to put my neoliberal old lady New York Times looking glasses on because the only people I think that are reading the New York Times anymore are, Mom, I hope it's not you, old neoliberal out of touch lefties. So we are starting our day with what is missing. Okay. What is missing, guys? What is missing? Yeah. And happy Sunday. Happy Sunday. Let me say hi to Jean. Thank you. And Nina, the moderators are here, and Bella and Foggy and Ernie. Ernie, it's beautiful to see you, Ernie. It's beautiful to see you. Yes, and Dale. Okay, so people are joining. Let's talk about the New York Times. Okay? And let's talk about what's missing. 10 columnists and writers rate what mattered in Trump's first month. And what was more consequential? What was less consequential? And we have a negative impact and positive impact. Oh, my. Let's see. What is the New York Times? What do these people think? What are and then we're going to, of course, we're going to talk about what's missing. Ukraine was more consequential. Doge, tariffs, U.S. aid, deregulation, immigration, military, RFK and science, Gaza, DEI, Eric's Adams, of course, all the way on the bottoms are trans issues because, well, as long as my grandchild isn't trans, it doesn't really matter to me, does it? Oh, God, no. No. So here we go. But what's missing, I ask you? Everybody in the chat. What is missing? Okay. I don't see anything about ecocide, climate crisis, climate change. I don't see anything about the environment. No, because maybe people that read the New York Times are so out of touch, they don't think there is an environment. So it's just so funny, my God. Yes, I'm not minimizing. I'm just making my case. And I'm going to quickly change over and show you why and how I got this. And it started out from Dr. Genevieve Gunther. And she said, well, she had posted this, and she said, this is so effing depressing. I'm trying not to get demonetized on this one today. 10 opinion columnists rate which of Trump's action up. Oh, I started it early. Which of the orange turd's actions have been most consequential so far, and his destruction of climate policy and climate science doesn't even make it on the grid. The world is insane. I couldn't agree with her anymore. I could not agree with her anymore. And let's see what some of the blue sky commentary said. And she said also, can we also talk about the destruction of DEI as a positive impact? Racist ghouls. Racist. Racist ghouls. She's so right. But after I looked at this article, I had to go over to the stock market and see how my stocks are doing. My God. What is the average New York Times reader anymore? Certainly isn't anybody I know. But at least Gail Collins brings up the climate under the heading of deregulation, while David Brooks, sounding like a typical abundance bro, celebrates the destruction of NEPA. Collins, drill, baby, drill. Forget the environment. Bring down oil prices and just hope you're not around to breathe in the consequences. And Macmillan Cottom, deregulation by administrative force is the big story of the first 100 days. It will reshape America for generations. Forgetting about breathing, maybe? And then Brooks. Laws like the National Environment Policy Act, signed into 1970, have slowed economic growth, driven up costs, and weakened productivity. Trump is right to deregulate. Okay, David, you out of touch, neocon, neolib, whatever you are, asshole. Brooks makes money from allegedly intellectual work is the stuff of nightmares. They don't know how science works. The U.S. is devastating its world-leading biomed research base, and it will take decades to recover. Absolutely, decades to recover. And if you're going to plot something, provide some clues to what your axes mean. Consequential for whom and how. An individual hate crime may not have consequences at a population, but it has world-altering consequences for the victim. Fuck me. Journalism died in the 90s. Yeah. So thank you so much for Dr. Geraldine Gunther. And we're going to give Geraldine the applause of the morning. Yeah. She gets the first applause of the morning. Yes, she does. And then for the second one, and I think now I'm going to transform. Let's transform. Let's get back to me. Good morning. All right. Let's get back to me in the second one. Because, actually, I should have left the glasses on because Climate Dad, imagine if these people thought to ask our leaders how they intend to save us from climate collapse, scientifically certain to get worse for the rest of our lives, decimating towns, blighting crops, and toppling our food system, killing us in billions. The media is the problem. And I've just illustrated. And so are some of the idiot readers. Yes, the media is the problem. Look at that group. Let's look at those pasty white faces. Aren't they just the best of the best allowed in the White House? Yeah, Eddie, they are all part of our business as usual culture. And one day they will realize it's their own grandchildren that are going to die. Too late. Okay, so now that we have started with the New York Times and what is missing, obviously what's missing, we saw what's missing. We're going to move on to one of our best buddies who we love so much, Professor Elliott Jacobson. He's on Blue Sky, but he sometimes vacillates like I do. He hasn't left Schittler yet, but it's because there's still some very good scientists on Schittler, so we'll stay on it for a while. And I'm off and on. I will deactivate my account for days when I don't want to look. So Elliot this morning, breaking news, and I love it. Code yikes! I've got to figure out what sound effect I can do for code yikes. I mean, maybe the cat meow, but I don't know. Maybe that's a better code yikes. February is now complete and recorded an average monthly temperature anomaly of 1.60 Celsius above the 1850 to 1900 pre-industrial baseline. This ranked third hottest February on record behind 2016, which was 1.64, and 2024, 1.78, which were both El Nino years. So let's make this bigger and look at it as always we try to do with the lines. And this is data from Copernicus, which is probably a go-to. And here we are at the top, going down. I'm actually really going to need that little bit of Aerosmith. Going down, going down. And then we're going to move on to his global sea ice extent, which continues to crush it, making all new all-time daily lows every day since February 3rd. Yesterday's global sea ice extent was 2,139,000 square kilometers below the 1991 to 2020 mean, which was 451,000 square kilometers below the previous record for our day. And that's the anomaly. And it's again going down, down. Yep. Thank you, Elliott. And he gets this from NIPR. Elliott is the man. I love Elliott. And Elliott also has a few little things up there. Thank you, Elliott, which we will be talking about, but I thought this was good. The swastika. Yeah, I'm not going to do it. But thank you so much, Elliott. Okay. And we're going to move on, but Elliott knows how much we love him. And we're going to move on. Because this article's kind of long. It is by Bill McKibben, but he's right. Trump's EPA seeks to deny science that Americans discovered. And I've got to do something really quick. I've got to move this over so I know what I'm seeing. Okay. So, and I also want to know, boy, people aren't getting up early enough to join us. Where is everybody? Widespread news reports on Wednesday said that the new administrator of the EPA, Lee Zeldin, who is the biggest clueless moron New Yorker from Long Island. I do have a little ditty, but I have to keep, I do have to keep some confidentiality about my friend. But I happen to know that Lee Zeldin is literally an asshole. Well, he's recommended the reversal of the longstanding federal position that carbon dioxide and other greenhouse gases endanger the public. The recommendation is, on the one hand, entirely predictable. President Donald Trump, who asked the EPA for an opinion on the subject on Inauguration Day, has said that climate change is a hoax and a scam. So Zeldin could have been in little doubt what he was supposed to do. You know, he's got to follow the man. He's no physicist. His few previous forays into environmental policy include during his tenure as a congressman from Long Island, in which he was pretty much a nothing. And if you're from Long Island, you would call him a nebbish, I think. I had to look it up. But that's what he is. The Fluke Fairness Act to change the management of fluke fishing. And while still running unsuccessfully for governor of New York, thank you, and deeply disgraceful, which would have been. But not just the climate denial, but basic science denial. An ongoing debate about whether our current dystopia is Orwellian or Huxleyan. That is true 1984 stuff. The periodic table of war is peace, freedom is slavery. Absolutely. It would also be an explicit repudiation of American scientific leadership, because it's in this country that scientists funded by or working for the government came to understand the role of carbon in our atmosphere in the first place. That's a story worth retelling, if only to throw this potential recantation into sharper relief. I'm going to move down because we all know the history. I want to get to where okay, James Hansen. Graduate of University of Iowa with 3 degrees in scientists, he went to work at NASA in its heyday in the early 1970s. While most of the agency was focused on space programs, he was studying the atmosphere of Venus, which gave him a very good vantage point for trying to understand how the Earth would heat. Using banks of mainframe computers from a NASA outpost on the Upper West Side of Manhattan, he spent the late 1970s and 80s building one of the world's early climate models and compiling the most comprehensive data set of global temperatures. This work allowed him to go before Congress in the summer of 1988 and explain that the planet was now heating up as a result of all that CO2, and it was going to get much, much worse. So I don't really think that I have to go that far into this because most of you do understand all of this. But American science had performed a remarkable feat. It had given us a timely, early warning of the single greatest danger our species has ever faced, along with ecocide. I'm sorry, an overshoot. Because if you don't put overshoot with that, you're just not getting the full picture. So, anyway, let's just go back. Let's go to the bottom. Again, no one should be surprised by Wednesday's announcement. But set against the historical context, it's the clearest potential sign I know, Bill says, of America's decline. We learned the truth once, and now we are actively renouncing that truth. The word came down from the mountain, in this case, Mauna Loa, and now we may smash the tablets because their message asks too much of us. The Keeling curve goes precipitously up. The curve of basic national responsibility is curving sharply down now. It's hard to imagine a bottom deeper than this, but if there is one, then men like Lee Zeldin will work surely very hard to find it. And it may be the last remaining research project. Now you say, oh my goodness, Bill McKibben, have you gone on to the doomer side? Holy crap. Maybe. Well, I'm going to go back to the other screen because we're going to look at a few pictures. And then I want to talk about a few more things. And it's good to see more people joining us. Absolutely. So I've got some pictures, and then that will spur some discussion since we already went through the New York Times and we know what's missing. And it's not that it minimizes some of these, especially, all of them. But if you don't have overshoot and you don't have climate change in there, I'm sorry. The delusion is high. And if it's a delusion on the left, the centrist lefts, whatever. C'est la vie. They certainly aren't going to save us. Nobody's going to save us. We are going to save us. And so we'll start with a little funny. What? No warnings? Oh, but we own the libs. Of course, we're going to talk about the firings because that's what's in the news. And when I find these cartoons, they're perfect for Sundays, I think. And then we're going to get to you and your questions. Yes. Let's see. And we're going to, maybe we'll talk about Ukraine a little bit because, it's in the news and this is a news show. It's on our minds. And this comic particularly, well, wait a minute. Oh. He isn't our America son. There's a lot of cartoons that have the Statue of Liberty. In fact, I've made videos with the Statue of Liberty. And it's just terribly sad. Because if you look at the map of Russia and Ukraine and Eastern Europe, you can see how easy it would be to march right through and just keep on going. And which is what I do think that Donald Trump couldn't care less about. Because as I've said, we are the evil axis that George Bush warned about. Can you imagine? And he's still alive. We don't hear a peep from him. He's sitting there drooling while he's painting. He's probably painting with his own drool. The evil axis. The evil axis. We are the evil axis. So let's see. Do I have anything else here? Yeah, this one. It's true. I'll burn the country to the ground to save my own arse. Believe me. And we're seeing it happen in real time. Real time. Although we see activists out there. And here's what I'm going to put up because this is a lot of people I know in my life. And I have cut them out of my life. I don't need them. Every time the clueless moron, orange turd says something, oh, he didn't mean to say that. And if he did, he didn't mean it. And if he did, well, you didn't understand it. And if you did, it's not a big deal. And if it is, others have said worse. And this is true. And this, if you speak with them, it is frustrating. And I'm cutting them out of my life because I don't need them. I never thought I would be like that, a non-accepting person. But this is the pinnacle of the end for the United States. If we were a democracy, we are definitely a capitalist oligarchy. We know that. But even then, it is on steroids. On steroids. So I guess another thing is 1 in 3 Americans have layoff anxiety in 2025. You think? And there's a lot of other anxiety. A lot of it. But that is very sad. But they are showing up, you know? They're showing up to town halls to meet their Republican congressmen. Doge, MAGA. Yikes! They're mad enough to throw $8 eggs. Yep, here's another one. Let's throw the eggs at them. But that's what's happening. They're mad enough to throw the eggs. And I do believe it's happening. And when I do get better, I really hope that I will be able to start taking part in some of the things that I would like to, especially Food and Water Watch in New York State. And I think I talked about I was on their Zoom and I want to learn more and know more because I definitely would like to get involved since they are working very closely with all of the environmentalists in New York State. And my big thing is to keep fracking out. Don't overturn the ban, which Lee Zeldin, which even our governor, Hochul, just approved the Iroquois pipeline. You know, she's nobody to be trusted, maybe with a few things, but in the long run, she's a conservative and she's going to go where the money is. She wouldn't take Eric Adams out, which is not a big thing to me. Eric Adams is a criminal, but half of the United States government, you know, that are in Congress anyway, are criminals. Unfortunately. So let's see here. Well, since it's Sunday, why don't we do a little Sunday, a little ode to Sunday, since it is the day of, religion. So let's do a little.
So God is doing.
Let's do a little Sunday prayer or Sunday. Have a religious day. Hang on.
So God is doing amazing things. This is a season where worship is going everywhere in our government, across the nation, here in D.C. I'm at the Washington Cathedral, and Pete Hegseth, who's a friend of mine, who's about to become the leader of the Pentagon,
leader of the fascists,
head over the Department of Defense. He just said, Sean, what if we do worship inside the Pentagon? And I was like, you know what? Let's do it. So this is just a testimony of encouragement to all of you out there. God is moving in big ways. Can you imagine worship going up from the Pentagon as a shield of protection over our nation? Thank you, all of you who have been supporting us, who have been praying for us. God's moving in big ways, amazing connections, and the best is yet to come.
The best is yet to come. Where have we heard that before? Oh my gosh, the best is yet to come. So that was our little bit of a piece of religion for Sunday. Since, listen, these people are insane. They're really insane. Okay? Insane in the membrane. Oh, by the way, I don't have the picture up, but the last of the New York Dolls passed away. If you come from the punk scene or knew anything about the punk goth scene in New York City, it's sad. It's really sad. Okay, so we're going to move on. And I want to talk about a little bit about what's happening with Ukraine, because specifically, what are the critical mineral deposits? Because everybody is talking about, what happened with what happened in the Oval Office, right? And what happened in the Oval Office was pretty awful, right? We think so. And don't we wish it looked like that? Don't we wish that could happen? That's in our brain. Whoever created this deserves the Emmy, Grammy, BAFTA, Tony, Kennedy Center Honor, People's Choice, and a freaking Lifetime Achievement Award. That'll be a violent, yeah, okay. So that probably will be something I won't be able to use for violence, but yeah, probably. So, all right. What is happening in this? I want to talk a little bit about this because I really want to touch a lot today. There was the article in this was, what are Ukraine's rare earth minerals? Where are they? And what will the deal with Trump involve? All right. So the thing is, I do have a little clip that might help, but I have to make sure it's the right one. I don't know.
How should our...
All right, hang on. We'll do this clip too, and then we'll talk about this.
How should our government react to Donald Trump's despicable AI video about Trump Gaza?
That's another thing we'll talk about. I already did last show.
That he posted on his own Truth Social platform.
I think really what our government should be doing is standing up not against the video, but against the policy. The idea that 2 million people in Gaza can be ethnically cleansed and displaced somewhere else to build some Trump fantasy land is unbelievably disgusting and should offend every single fibre in our collective being. And it should be stood up against by 2 million people who have just faced the most horrific destruction. People whose entire families have been destroyed, every building basically in Gaza razed to rubble, no schools, no hospitals, mosques flattened. To threaten them with never going back to their own land, not being able to rebuild it as a negotiating strategy is absolutely sick.
Okay.
Yeah, absolutely sick. And that is where I think instead of this, I'm going to go first. I'm going to go and, where is it? God damn it. Oh, my goodness. I don't have it in. Oh, okay. Here we are. I need to get my screen where it is so I can see where I am. All right. So instead of, I'm going to move around things a little bit than I was, because I was looking at the Times of Israel and I was looking at Haaretz on this. And after all this nonsense that was happening, Israel, now this is the Times of Israel, which is like equal to the New York Times in New York. Israel joins Russia in laughing its way to the bank after Trump-Zelensky spat. Russia is not the only country laughing all the way to the bank after U.S. President Donald Trump's war of words with his visiting Ukrainian counterpart, Volodymyr Zelensky. So is Israel. Mr. Trump's willingness to accommodate Russian President Vladimir Putin serves Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin, or Benny and the losers, Netanyahu's purpose as he seeks to redraw the Middle East map in his mold. Mr. Netanyahu signaled as much when days before Mr. Trump's shouting match with Mr. Zelensky, Israel voted against a United Nations General Assembly resolution that affirmed Ukraine's territorial integrity and condemned Russia's invasion. Now, did you hear that? Did you read that? They voted against it. So Israel, who is the aggressor, okay, they are an aggressor. I don't consider Netanyahu a democratic or democracy, although Israelis want to see themselves as a democracy. But Netanyahu was also a criminal and ran for president and actually won because of misinformation and disinformation once again. God damn, it gets hot in here. Wait, hang on. Oh, shit. Why doesn't this work fast enough? Okay. Anyway, sorry. He's horrible, right? And I don't know if the majority of Israelis or the sane Israelis, there are a lot of lefties in Israel that don't agree at all, right? And he's a war criminal. But initially they portrayed the vote as Israel succumbing to U.S. pressure that, according to one official, came at all levels at the UN in Washington and in Israel. But in the days since the ballot, Israel signaled that its vote, coupled with its use of military force and land grabs to demilitarize most of its neighbors' borders with the Jewish state, is about being a player in a new world order dominated by spheres of influence in which certain countries are top dog. In other words, Netanyahu, that slime ball, knows how to maneuver. He seized the opportunity in his Ukraine vote. Mr. Trump's overall support for the prime minister's policies and the president's willingness to reshape debate by initially staking out maximalist positions like his Gaza resettlement plan that would see the Strip's population evicted from the territory. More like genocided. Where are they going? I got to talk about this for a minute before I finish this, all right? I recently started watching a whole lot of videos about the survivors of October 7th and what happened. And it was horrible, especially for what happened in the kibbutzes, which I actually am now going to study because of the socialist utopia that they represent and how so many in the Doomosphere do talk about intentional communities, and it's very interesting to me. But what has happened here, is very interesting. These people didn't deserve it, okay? But I have to say something. It was a horrible horror that happened on October 7th. And I'll put the link into the channel that you can watch the survivors and what happened, all right? And you understand that these people really, really had a terrible experience, okay? But there's no excuse. But the thing is, they are human beings. And so are the Palestinians. And what I don't understand is, why are Israeli lives, according to, I guess, Netanyahu and the right wing, I would say, neo-fascist, conservative government in Israel, why are their lives worth more than Palestinian lives? Why? It was overkill. The response is overkill. It still is. And they are putting all their eggs in a basket for Donald Trump. To what? Miraculously save them? I was raised where it was equality. I never thought in my life of people being lesser than. We are all humans. We are all on the same boat. We are all in this together. We breathe the air, we drink the water, and we eat the food. So why is it that they, yes, with a hideous occurrence, why is it though that 1,000 lives are worth more than 20, 30, 40, 50,000? We don't even know the number of Palestinians. That's my question. And then I will go on and finish. It's been irking me. It really has been.
How should our government react to Donald Trump's...
Sorry. So it's been irking me. So really, I'll go down. In Netanyahu's mind, Israel is Mr. Trump's regional top dog in the Middle East. And the Jewish states' interests align with the interests of Egypt, Jordan, and Gulf states, potentially browbeaten by the United States to fall into line. In reality, the opposite might be true, as Israel's war conduct and refusal to embrace the notion of an independent Palestinian state drive Arabs and Israelis further apart. Doesn't everybody there deserve a place to live in peace? Regardless of all the history, when does the hate end? When does the warring and the fighting and the anger? I never thought I would live to see something as hideous as the response to what happened. And we bankrolled it. So Netanyahu thinks that by getting in front of the cart, he not only curries favor in Washington, but also reopens doors to Russia closed during Gaza war and potentially enlists Russia in cementing Israel's top dog position in the Middle East. Pretty gross. So I'm not going to read the rest of this because, again, everything's long and I don't want to have an unusually really long show. But there is another... there was another one, and I don't know where it is. Shit, hang on. I'm really sorry. I had it in order, and then everything... Oh, that's the Times of Israel. Oh, here. Haaretz. Okay, here we go. And I'm using Google today. Forgive me. I didn't set it up. I should have set it up on Brave. So with Gaza truce in limbo, Netanyahu appeases far right, leaving hostages' fate to Trump. That's pretty frightening and disgusting. He has no urgency. If it were up to him, all hostages would die in Gaza, freeing him from their release and securing his far right support. With Qatar losing patience and the U.S. forces focus on Ukraine, he stalls. So there's 24 living hostages, and the Israelis who care about them can only pin their hopes on the orange turd. Oh my God. Only he can be their savior. If it were up to Netanyahu, they would die in Gaza. Their names would be added to a long list of the war's dead, the weight from his shoulders lifted, and only move ahead to elections in which Netanyahu will promise that only he can protect us against a Hamas invasion because he is a narcissist just like the orange turd. They are pathetic narcissists. And it's very, very sad. So now you see... It's like in a live broadcast from the White House on Friday night, we all realized that putting our hopes on Trump is like having a drunk driver take us on a mountain trek. You have to put your head in your hands to pray for the best. But that's what it is. Netanyahu is making huge efforts to sabotage any chance of pursuing the deal to finance Minister Bezalel Smotrich's satisfaction. to his satisfaction. The administration's attention has shifted to Russia, Ukraine, and Netanyahu, hey, he's doing quite well right now. So, in the past few weeks, Hamas has sent messages to Israel via the mediators, more Egypt, less Qatar, and there's a place to talk about another phase for releasing hostages within stage 1 understandings, depending on a ceasefire through the end of Ramadan and completing the withdrawal from the Philadelphia Accord. But that's over. So there you go. It's over. It's a mess. It is really a mess. All of these links will be in here. All right. He's just like the orange turd. And the Israeli people that voted for him, he was a criminal. He was under charges, and so was his wife. They did the same thing. Why? Why does this keep happening? So we'll see a mess there. We'll see a mess there. And he said, there must not be elections now when we are so close to victory. And here we are a year later, and this time he's promising his ministers that he is now totally serious. The victory is coming. They're insane. And I'm done. I'm done with this one. But they are insane. Yep. They're insane. So now let's talk about Ukraine, since we know what happened and everybody saw. But what are the rare earth minerals, and where are they, and what will the deal with Trump be? A lot of us didn't even know what the hell, this whole thing was, right? So I'm going down and I'm going to this. Where are Ukraine's critical mineral deposits? And in my opinion, why in the hell should Zelensky sign an agreement that he knows deep inside he will get screwed? Russia breaks all the agreements, and the United States will just abuse it. I'm sorry, my country is disgusting. So these are, Ukraine has at least 37 critical mineral deposits across the country, with lithium, titanium, graphite being the most abundant. Donald red turd, orange turd, whatever you want to call them. What did he call them? Earth. And, mineral deposits. He's the earths. I don't know if I even have a video of him saying it. Let me see. Saying the earths. Let me see. I probably don't. I thought I did. Oh, well, I didn't put it up. It doesn't matter, because you can imagine. You can imagine. So all of these, and you can see where in Ukraine, where all these mineral deposits are. You can go up in there. You can see this, where the lithium is. Look, in the middle, right in the middle of the country, lithium. I don't even know if the orange turd understands everything. I really don't. He doesn't. Others do. And he does what he thinks he knows. But there's graphite, lithium, tantalum, titanium, vanadium, zirconium, chromium, cobalt, graphite, beryllium, everything. And they had fertile farmland, which is being destroyed. I'm sorry, they're the gateway to Russia, and to Europe, and everybody in Eastern Europe has the right to feel threatened. Call me whatever you want, a war hawk. I don't give a shit. I see it as a very problematic thing. I see when the President of the United States lies and says that Ukraine invaded Russia, when back in 14 and 15, they sent their little henchmen, a group with Rudy Giuliani, to secure stuff from Zelensky that said Biden's kid, about Biden's kid and all that mess. They're all dirty. They're all dirty. But what are their rare earths? Ukraine is sitting on one of Europe's largest deposits of critical minerals, including lithium, titanium, much of which is untapped. According to the Institute of Geology, Ukraine possesses rare earth elements such as lanthanum and cerium, used in TVs and lighting, neodymium, used in wind turbines and EV batteries, and erbium and yttrium, whose applications range from nuclear power to lasers. The EU-funded research also indicates that Ukraine has scandium reserves, but detailed data is classified. He's been trying to develop the resources, estimated to be worth $12 trillion, which actually could then finance protection for that country and keep Russia out. And Russia stay on your side. You have a big enough country, but you see why everybody wants a piece of Ukraine. For farmland and for earth, minerals and rare earths. And it's sad. To me, it's really sad. So these are the parts, the Donetsk Oblast, and these are the different parts that Russia has laid claim to or tried. Because I think that not Donald Trump. See, they're interchangeable. Vladdy boy. He'd love to have the great Soviet Union. He's another one, an oligarch who robbed his country blind. And supposedly the people elected him there. I have no beef against the Russian people. Russian people are like Americans, just as clueless, just as brainwashed, just as manipulated, like every country. People are people, but people are fallible to all of this lunacy. So, anticipating the notoriously transactional, Mr. Trump might take an interest in this. Zelensky then placed the mining of these minerals into his victory plan. All right? That's what Orange Turd doesn't like. And so here's more. This is a bigger picture. There's a lot of stuff. They're a very valuable country. But it's a sovereign democracy. And what people say is right-wing bullshit, okay? A lot of it. Am I a geopolitical expert? In no means. But I do read a lot. And I don't read just left-wing or, I don't read just what makes me feel the best, okay? I read a lot of different things. Because if you don't, how do you get the big picture? You don't get the big picture. Yeah. But the invasion not only delayed their plans to mine them, which is also going to destroy their country all by themselves, it has also led to much of these resource-rich areas being destroyed and then occupied. So here we are. It's the same old thing, same old thing. Humanity is a destructive force. And basically, no matter what country you are in, mining and drilling and all of this, energy and money. It's all about energy and money, right to extinction. And I don't even know if I have my extinction thing on. I can't even play it, I don't think. It was a picture I had of I'm not set up for my push buttons. But anyway, so what's next? After Mr. Zelensky and Mr. Trump, I like it, Mr. Trump, left the minerals deal unsigned on Friday, some senior officials are suggesting that negotiations are still possible, although the Ukrainian delegation was kicked out of the White House ahead of schedule. Mr. Zelensky can come back when he's ready for peace, Mr. Trump wrote in Truth Social. Truth Social, the arbiter of what? Our times? Ugh, disgusting. See, U.S. companies, and that's the other rub, business as usual. U.S. companies have expressed interest. Who? According to Ukrainian business officials. But striking a formal deal would likely require legislation, geological surveys, and negotiations of specific terms. It's unclear what kind of security guarantees companies would require to risk working in Ukraine, even in the event of a ceasefire. And no one knows for sure what kind of financing agreements would underpin contracts between Ukraine and U.S. companies. So again, it's all just so corrupt, in my opinion. It just all is. Now, are you guys ready for a little intermission? Do you mind? I think I'm ready for an intermission. And I need to stand up, and I want us to go, I want us to get a little bit of a break. I'm going to get a little more coffee. I'm going to go see what my cats are doing. And I want us to take a break from all the stress. And this is a video I made last year. And this year gardening season is coming. I'm not as healthy as I was. Okay. Yes, things are different. You know, I'm going to have surgery March 11th to fix some stomach issues. So let's hope that helps. I'm going to play this video for you. Take a break. It's 7 minutes, but it's really good. It shows you what I did last year with my neck brace, my back brace with help. This year I am really needing my Amish neighbor to build raised beds, and you'll see why. I may need help, and I may need to ask you for help. Those of you that can. You know, it's not going to cost me a lot, but I don't even know what I'm going to have. So let's take a little break. Watch this video. Don't leave, because it's actually going to make you feel good. And we need a little feel good before we come back for the rest of the stressful show. Okay? Okay. Wait a minute. Do I have the right video on? Hang on. I don't think. Hang on. Wow. It doesn't look like I have the right video on. Where is it? Hang on, guys. I get it. No. All right, just a second. Forgive me for being, it's Sunday morning. Like I always say, Sunday morning is a little different. Let me move over to... I want to take myself off. Hang on, my friends. We're going to start this over. Okay, here we go. Not something that we hadn't seen. I think a lot about this aging shit and how long can I do all this work that I do. But so slow and steady wins the race. Hopefully I'll get to plant next week. Try to keep it all up. Do my show, plant, keep this place up. I've got the front of the house to do. I got all the flowers on the deck. Well, not all of them, but most of them potted. So it's really nice to just enjoy life, which is what we're supposed to be doing. But how can you when you know what's going on? When you watch the floods, you see the droughts. Yeah, look at that. Still got quite a bit of wood. I've had a lot of this stuff a long time. These pots. looks good here. Look at that. Beautiful. Beautiful leaves. Dill is coming up. Little dill. Lemon mint is in that pocket. So my lettuce, tomatoes. I completely forgot what I put in there. Oh my goodness. I got more tomatoes up here. One cantaloupe, but that'll go in the big garden. I've got beets, celery. Everything's starting to come up. It's a shame I didn't get my greenhouse going. I could have grown a lot more than I have at the work table. I think next year maybe I could afford to try to get my deck fixed the right way instead of drilling in plywood. Yeah, and here we are. Environmental coffee house. So the soil's coming today. That will be laid down, dumped onto that tarp, and I will very steadily and very slowly wheelbarrow soil to build up these beds, which are 7 years old. And yeah, I'm a little late, but I'm gonna take all the stuff down, the irrigation, roll it down to this end, right? And raise up these beds, and then take all the wood and the stones that I've collected and line them. Oh, that's gorgeous. So all of that will be going into those beds. Yeah. Getting there. This could take a while. I'm not gonna get it done today. It's too hot now. Plus I gotta drag more edging up from basement woods. When I first made this garden, I used everything possible. I had old siding, and this is where the snakes live. Too bad there's nobody under here today. I'm gonna only do 6 beds. And I'm just dragging whatever I find in the basement to line the beds, because nothing has to be perfect. Once all these are built up, then the compost and the good soil goes on the top, and then the planting. Like I said before, the last thing I'm going to do is the aesthetics, which are around here after I put the lines back down for irrigation. But I think I'm doing pretty good. You know, everything that's going on all around the world. And then you look at this, and you think, wow. I mean, it's, how many times can I pinch myself to know that I am in one of the most, privileged, blessed situations I could be in. Up, Yeah, turn that off. Did you have a nice break? Okay, so what I showed you, and I really wish I had pulled up, which I did not. I wish I pulled up something after that to show you the pictures, which I probably still could, but I don't know. We don't have a lot of time, and I wanted to move on. I have a lot going on, but that was a good break. I got my coffee done. But see, you can understand now why I have asked my Amish neighbor. He came and measured for me to have. He's going to put raised beds in if I can afford it. I mean, with all that's going on, I haven't lied to you. I live on Social Security disability, and the donations I get here are not a lot, and they can't be, and I'm never looked to even really be monetized. But, it's not just the federal workforce cuts. I mean, there's more than just that, but we're going to move on to this. I mean, I really would love to find a picture. Maybe towards the end, I'll find a picture of what my gardens look like. But I plant a lot. I have my playlist. It used to be the disabled abled gardener, and now it is the Anthropocene gardener. And hopefully this year I'll be physically able to do what I need to do. But let's move on a little bit. And I want to talk about these firings because they're done wrong. And everything has been done against everything I ever learned as an HR professional completely. So this whole thing, and again, I don't have to read it, but the firings have affected all 50 states, including employees at agencies that Americans frequently interact with, including the National Park Service, U.S. Department of Agriculture, Veterans Affairs, and they are pissed. Internal Revenue, National Institute of Health, Social Security, they're closing a few offices near where I know in this state, and they've continued as weeks pass. So he's changing job classification. I mean, the presidents never did it like this, and this buyout is a bunch of crap because it's illegal to do that, actually, the way they're doing it. Unions are suing. That was January 29th. February 4th, USAID employees placed on administrative leave. February 5th, government warns of furloughs. Yeah, when I was in research, and every single year that the Republican Party was in the White House, we always had the threat of furloughs all the time, which is when employees, they go home, and don't know when they're going to come back. And it was only when the Republicans were in, actually. And then in February 6th, the Boston judge temporarily declined to accept a buyout offer. All right. And people are starting to really protest. And then 7th, Trump fires head of federal agency dedicated to guarding the federal workforce from illegal personnel actions, which is really pathetic. I mean, because nothing I ever learned, and I've talked about this in my other shows, nothing I have ever learned in my professional career, with all the certifications and degrees and everything I have had, none of this would ever have happened. He fired the head of the special counsel. I mean, it's disgusting. Then Trump fires leaders of 2 internal boards of employees used to protest the firings. February 11th, Trump signs executive order to make major cuts. Okay. And then the 12th, judge allows buyouts to move forward. So this guy restored Trump's buyout project. I'd really like to know how that's going to work and how unemployment is going to work. I mean, we're going to see this unfold together. Okay. And Thousands of probationary employees are fired across the government. Now, probationary employees does not necessarily mean like they started 3 months ago. You know, probationary periods could be 3 years, and they can have fantastic performance evaluations, but they're being lied about, and they're being laid off or let go because of poor performance when they don't have poor performance. And these are all decisions that should be made by their higher-ups, not Elon and the orange turd. Unions are suing over firing, and that was the 20th. And the 24th Office of Special Counsel says firing of probationary employees was illegal. But was he fired? I mean, they need to have 60 days notice for a reduction of force, and they have to have the WARN Act put in place, which is where employees have the ability to understand what's happening, and these notices go out to the surrounding communities that there are mass layoffs happening. Merit Systems Protection Board reinstates some probationary employees. February 27th, California judge blocks firing of probationary employees. But really, what is ahead? The Trump administration ordered heads of federal departments and agencies to prepare to initiate large-scale reductions of force by March 13th as the orange turd shifts to a more aggressive phase of cutting the federal workforce beyond recently hired or promoted employees. A memo sent by Personnel Management and Management and Budget offices has also instructed federal departments to eliminate and consolidate duplicative positions, reduce their property footprints, and produce reorganization plans for their agencies. So there's a lot going on. I mean, the parks, don't go to the parks. I mean, if a park does not have the rangers or the staff, humans should not go. They will destroy the parks without, I'm sorry, but without the guardrails of park employees, the rangers. I think nobody should be able to go. So we look at that, and then we go to the NOAA and the National Weather Service. Let's look at the National Weather Service. It's still up. There's a certain percentage of people that are laid off. So it's still working. Okay, so if I wanted to put a city in, I don't want to put this in. I don't know what I want to put in. Let's see. Let's put in... okay, let's put in something that's not that far from me. Okay, and let's see what happens. All right, so it's 15 degrees near me right now, and it is cold, actually, and we're getting snow showers March 2nd. Like, by now I should have had so many seeds planted. I haven't done anything because I had me feeling good, and everything hurts, but they're still up. All right. So, but let's see what, let's go to the NOAA library. Let's see what's still up there. All right. So there's still things up there. Daily weather maps and hurricane reports and daily synoptic weather maps. Oh, look at this. We could go all the way to, they show for years and years and years. So there are things that are still there. I mean, it's not that it's completely done, weather and climate, but what's going to happen remains to be seen. We don't know what percent of the workforce is really going to be hit, because if they're now going to move from probationary employees to longer term employees, it's going to be a problem. It's just going to be a big problem. Research tools, let's see. Databases. right, let's look at the American Meteorological Society. Let's look and see what theirs looks like. And select your preferred. I have to log in. Isn't that weird? They can't read my certificate. So let's see. I don't know. I'm not quite used to all of this stuff. But there's a lot of different E&E news. You have to definitely sign in for that one. But it's still up, all right? Let's see. Report of the chief of the Weather Bureau. Interesting. But we will see, okay? We will definitely understand. And services. Let's see. Webinars and seminars. Are they still going to have the myths of management strategy evaluation? Ooh. Are they still going to have their... things are being canceled, so that's interesting. Yep. Oh, and by the way, the usual annual meeting of the virologists and immunologists that get together to determine the flu vaccine ingredients or what the strains are or whatever for next year, that has been canceled. So if you are like me and you're immunocompromised, you may not be leaving your house for the rest of your fucking life. Yeah. Okay. And I don't know what this is. Let's see what this is. Oh, you have to register. So, okay. So something that's not been taken off. So the NOAA, it's still up. All right. Still up. We don't know what's going to happen, but it's still up. I had picked another story. Again, I'm just going to go over it. The Kaufman Chronicle, it's on Substack, and they were talking about big oil's nightmare. States are making them pay. With Washington failing, states are forcing fossil fuel giants to pay for the climate crisis. Will they win or will they be crushed? Climate change isn't a distant threat. It's here now. And wreaking havoc. While Congress remains gridlocked and federal courts weaken climate protection, states like Vermont, New York, and California are taking matters into their own hands. Their message is clear. Taxpayers shouldn't foot the bill for climate disasters while fossil fuel corporations rake in record profits. So let's see what happens. They're going to, California's making a move with a Superfund Act. And why the states are taking it? Because Trump's gutted Biden's clean energy policies, weakening incentives for wind, solar, and electric vehicles under the Inflation Reduction Act. The administration has ramped up drilling and expanded oil and gas leases on public lands and in the Arctic, further fueling the climate crisis under Drill Baby Drill. The EPA has been defunded and weakened, making it harder to regulate pollution or enforce existing laws. And Trump's Supreme Court appointees have solidified a conservative majority, making it more difficult for federal agencies to enact climate regulations. Can you say we are so fucked? With Congress controlled by fossil fuel allies, and the courts undermining climate action, states have no choice but to act on their own. Of course, it won't be Alabama or Mississippi or Louisiana, And those are the states that are hit the hardest, right? What if there's no federal money for FEMA or for anything for those states when tornado season comes? Or in the hurricane hit states? Oh, it's going to be a heck of a time coming. I can see it. So these are state-led climate rebellions. If these climate superfund laws succeed, they could force fossil fuel companies to pay up, despite the orange turd's federal rollbacks. If struck down, however, they could reinforce the notion that big oil is untouchable at every level of government. Either way, states aren't waiting for Washington anymore. They can't afford to. Big oil's legal battle against accountability, predictably, Big Oil is not backing down. The American Petroleum Institute and the U.S. Chamber of Commerce have sued Vermont, claiming its law unfairly targets out-of-state companies. Meanwhile, New York's $75 billion Climate Change Superfund Act faces a lawsuit led by 22 clueless fucking moron, asshole, right-wing sycophants who say they are attorney generals, arguing that penalizing past emissions is unconstitutional. Their whole party is unconstitutional. The outcome of these legal fights is critical. If these laws hold, they could set a national precedent for climate accountability. If struck down, well, they risk emboldening fossil fuel companies to continue polluting without consequences. Just imagine what it'll look like if we are going backwards and you pass an industry that is just dumping all of its refuse into the waterways or spewing all of its garbage into the airways. I mean, are we going back to the 1970s? Think about it. I mean, with climate disasters escalating, wildfires in California, record floods in Vermont, billion-dollar hurricanes on East Coast, devastated communities in 2024. The financial burden is unsustainable, and we already know the insurance companies are saying, oh, God, no. Oh, we don't want that anymore. The financial burden, unsustainable. Climate disasters cost the U.S. hundreds of billions annually, cost the taxpayers, not polluters. Not polluters. So the taxpayers, we, us, those who get screwed at every corner we turn. And environmental justice is long overdue. Low-income communities and communities of color bear the brunt of pollution, and these laws prioritize funds for those most effective. So let's see what happened. There's a growing climate justice movement, which, it says momentum is building. Lawmakers in Maryland, Massachusetts, and other states are considering their own climate superfund laws. Yes. And if enough states take action, pressure on the federal government to follow suit will be impossible to ignore. So what comes next? California, it faces fierce opposition from industry lobbyists. And the lawsuits against Vermont, New York could set legal precedents that define the future of climate accountability. The stakes couldn't be higher, which is why I am going to join up with Food and Water Watch in New York State. I have to. I can't sit on my ass. Yes, I love doing the show, but I need to get involved in something. I live on Marcellus Shale. I am the first county that they will frack. It is Republican here. They brainwash a lot of people here. Holy shit, somebody gift Gary. Oh my God, Gary Ballard, I'll thank you after I go through this. One thing is clear, states are not waiting. Now, this Kaufman Chronicle is pretty cool. I like it. And I also watch every now and then Tony Michael's podcast, and this is from his podcast. I don't know why he calls it the Kaufman Chronicle, but here's the bibliography, which is great. And that's what I always do in our show notes. All right. We always have that. So I thought that this was really good to put in. And also, I just also wanted to put this in because this is a big story. Plants losing appetite for carbon dioxide amid effects of warming climate. And this is important because every single climate change denier says, oh, CO2 is good for the plants. Oh my God, CO2 is good for everything. The grading of the continents are great. Oh, fuck them. I knew I couldn't get through the whole show without a few. So this is by Kate Revilius, and Earth's plants and soils reached peak carbon dioxide sequestration in 2008, but proportion absorbed has been declining, and it's a new study. So I suggest that you guys do read the study. I'm not going to read the study. I wanted to tell you all about this article, which you may have seen, but it is really important. And there's going to be a lot more on this. And I hope that when there is that we can deal with this. I'm hoping for a next State of a Planet with Jennifer Antonio, Nicholas, and myself, the original 4, to be in April. And I'm hoping there'll be a lot more. All right. So we will definitely look at this study. It's in the journal Weather. Natural sequestration of carbon dioxide is in decline. Climate change will accelerate. It was released on 15th of January, 2025. So I am really looking forward to more of this with the team. All right. All right. And then we're going to move on. There's another issue here. U.S. Antarctic program disrupted by DOGE-induced chaos. So this is another problem. And this is a big problem. Thankfully, we have scientists from other countries that are studying Antarctic. And because the United States is not going to be able to be counted on for anything. So the United States Antarctic program operates 3 permanent stations. These remote stations are difficult to get to and maintain, scattered across the continent. But to the U.S., the science has been worth it. Now, the NSF program managers staffed on Antarctic project, they were fired as part of a wider purge at the agency. These program managers are critical for maintaining communications with the infrastructure and logistics arm of the National Science Foundation and the contractors for the USAP, as well as planning deployment for scientists to the continent, keeping track of budgets and funding the maintenance and operations work. You know, things that Marjorie Taylor Greene says they don't do anything. Federal employees, they don't do anything. They don't make any money for the government. So it's pretty sad. Without them, everything stops. So forget all the research from the NSF. Yep. So let's see. I think we're going to go to another little video. I got to find it. Just a second. I had one and oh yeah. Okay. We're going to move on now that I talked about Doge mess, right? We're going to move on.
I mean, the government's one big permit scheme, if you ask me.
Yeah, well, you can tell me better than anybody.
Social Security is the biggest Ponzi scheme of all time.
What an asshole.
Right, explain that.
Oh, so...
Both of them.
Well, people pay into Social Security, and the money goes out of Social Security immediately, but the obligation for Social Security is your entire retirement career. So you're paying you're paying like if you look at the future obligations of Social Security, it far exceeds the tax revenue. The government's one big permit scheme, if you ask.
Okay, so what is he forgetting? What is this little fascist fucker forgetting? Okay. Musk just gave the game away in his interview with Rogan. And here's where I put the tinfoil hat time on. He said it's because of Social Security that people are living longer than expected, which coupled with a lower U.S. birth rate creates a situation he finds intolerable. He's coming for your Social Security. He wants to kill us. Is it hyperbole anymore, guys? Do I need the tinfoil hat? Am I speaking out of my ass? Do I sound like a conspiracy theorist? Every senior citizen in this country should be out on the streets. Walkers, wheelchairs, and all. Okay? Once again, he gave away in this interview with Joe Rogan, who is a disgusting, despicable piece of shit because he never has a thought of his own. Yep. People are living longer than expected, which, coupled with the lower U.S. birth rate, creates a situation he finds intolerable. He's coming for your Social Security. And they said that wasn't going to happen. They said it wasn't going to happen. It's going to happen. And when I say I'm going to be living in the shack in the backyard, hopefully after I get my raised beds, you think it's hyperbole? I had put that up on my last show. And it sounds like hyperbole. It sounds like I'm joking. It sounds like it's all big and fun and, funny. But look at this one. 7 ways to retire comfortably with $1 million. Oh my gosh. Yeah, okay. What I really need is, okay, how are we going to do that? Or maybe I need this. Because who here has $1 million? Who here has even $1,000 in the bank? And that's why every one of you that do donate, I am so appreciative. But look at this, the 15-minute retirement plan for help preparing to retire comfortably. What a joke. It's a freaking joke. And then you have that Elon turd. Everything could be fixed by lifting the cap. If there was no cap on FICA and Medicare, which comes out of paychecks, if there was no cap, there would be no problem. But everything in this capitalist hellhole of the United States is predicated on helping the wealthy and on making sure that the wealthy are sorry, it's called aspirin. I didn't use my Alka-Seltzer today. But helping the wealthy, right? Helping the wealthy. Everything. The cap should have been lifted decades ago. And when I was in HR, I was like, I used to go to the meetings and say, why is there a cap when I would go to specific meetings on FICA, learn about FICA withholding and all that. Why is there a cap? Why do these people stop paying? How ridiculous is this? It would be so simple. But the longer that the government waits, the worse it's going to get, because the return time for the investment, for the money to get in there, is just going to take more time. There's a guy named Dr. Ed Weir who does a Social Security channel. He was an administrator at Social Security, a bigwig. He's got a very good channel, and he has been showing us a lot about Social Security. So you can go to his channel. I have to remember to put the link in. But I think for the most part, I have, And see, this guy, he's already spent $10.7 million of taxpayer money paying golf. Yep. Yeah. The dump king. This is how the rest of the world looks at the United States. This is what they look at. This is what they see. This is what they're seeing. I'm sorry, but it is. So it is a big fucking joke. It really is. And I have one more funny thing I want to show you. Now, I can't really show you.
React to Donald Trump's despicable.
Okay, I can't show you the whole thing yet. In fact, you know what? Hang on. Let me show you this one first, because it just shows you. All right, just a second. It shows you how angry people are. It really does. Let me play this.
What the government is doing right now, as far as cutting out those jobs, a huge percentage of those people, and I know you care about the veterans, are veterans.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. And that is a damn shame.
Yes. Yeah.
That is a damn
Look at the color
I'm
of
not
everybody
a Democrat,
there.
but I'm worried about the veterans, man.
Well, I yielded to one of my elders, and I appreciate his comments. I think it's a great. We don't have time for everyone to stand up. I do got 2 more commitments today. Appreciate everybody making the drive out, and God bless America. Thank you.
You're a liar.
pictures with you, buddy, right?
Yep. People are angry. They're very angry. But I've got to end with something kind of funny. All right. So Walter Masterson went to CPAC, which is the conservative bullshit, APAC, CPAC, whatever. They are the fascist lovers. And I've got to show you this one. It's hilarious. I can't show a lot because I don't know if Walter Masterson does a copyright. Okay. So, but it's funny because these guys are from upstate New York. And it's absolutely hilarious. Look what they're wearing. Okay. Look what these idiots are wearing.
Yeah,
it's a huge state.
Yeah. It is. I mean, personally, we believe New York City should be a district.
They look cool.
Because why, upstate, we carry all those taxes, all the same laws, everything, but we don't have the same opportunity.
Listen, I'm from New York City. New York City, the money
look
coming
at
from
the
New York
Donald
City
Trump patch. Oh my God! Look at these idiots.
What the tax money?
The tax money.
GDP, everything.
But tax. I mean.
They're probably from like Rockland County or Orange County, where I lived in both. These are idiots.
Look at Kathy Hochul. I mean, Hochul, if you're listening to this, you're done. When it comes 2026, you're out. New Yorkers are sick of this shit. She's absolutely destroyed the state. You have immigrants coming in. Trump and all them are...
Wait, let's finish up one thing. I'm talking about the revenue from New York City powering New York State.
Powering? But
powering.
Look at these guys.
You are taking income from the people.
How can they actually not be embarrassed?
The machine.
New York City sends money to Albany that they don't get back.
Yeah.
And the amount of money coming through
all right.
should be illegal.
But then everything at the store, all the prices go up. You raise minimum wage, it doesn't solve anything.
They don't
if
want
someone
to
is
raise
working
minimum
40
wage.
hours a week and they cannot pay their bills, then that employer is not an employer. That's slave. They're another form of slavery.
Okay. I'm going to just put up, let me find what you're saying, my friend. I can rate them. I rate them. You wouldn't want to hear what I rate them.
I'm a business owner.
I'm a business
owner.
If I were to employ people, the amount of money New York State would need from me for every little thing, every bureaucratic piece of bullshit.
I can't even do it. I can't even do it anymore. It's just I had to show you those guys because I don't know if I want to get. I don't want to get a copyright from Walter Masterson because I really honestly don't know if he does, but he's great. The link will be in there. When I saw those guys, I was dying. I mean, I know exactly their relatives. They came from probably Brooklyn. They're probably Italian descent. They have no idea that when their people came over from Italy, that they were treated horribly. Okay, they were treated horribly. They were the bad word, right? And now look what they're wearing. These guys think that they're like manly men. And okay, don't get offended. I am of the age where a pussy is like a kitty, like a baby. They are pussies. They are babies. They are so brainwashed. It's just disgusting. All right. So I had to show you that as the bring it up the rear because the show is just about almost over. And let's get some comments. And first, let me get to super chats. All right. Oh, stop this muskrat butt kiss. Don't we wish? Thank you. That's extremely generous. Extremely generous. Thank you, John. I love you. You've just been with me for a long time. Thank you. And thank you, Early Love. You like the flush. So we need to ask you what we're going to flush after we read these. And Nadia. Not the 1970s. Neo-reactionaries say they want the 1870s. The O-bros are saying they want the 1170s. Rushdoony wanted 1170 BC, to be clear. Yeah. Oh, shit. All right, Nadia. And thank you, Foggy. That's awesome. Stretching your arm. Okay, we'll have a cup of coffee. A cup of coffee with the wonderful Foggy, who I see on the Tony Michaels broadcast. I like him. He's dirty and he's bad and he doesn't give a shit. And that's, I don't mind. When people, I don't give a shit. When nothing offends me, you know, but I'm not going to be offended. It's just being offended is stupid these days. Too many people are offended by too much. We are living through the Anthropocene, and we are living through a fascist authoritarian regime takeover. If I use the word to call those three guys in red, white, and blue pussies, I'm sorry, but they are. Don't be offended. They are. You know what? In fact, thank you for this. The 1975 New York City municipal bondholder capital strike broke New York City. The assassination of New York by Robert Fitch, I think, outlines that, among other things. Oh, I've got a good one, Nadia, I was going to ask you about, too. The unveiling, the document I found from 2015. Okay, what are we flushing? We flushed Elon. I forgot what I was going to flush. We flushed him so many times. There's just so many things to flush. Holy crap. Come on, guys. Help me out here. What are we flushing? I mean, I'll do up to 2 flushes. Where are you, early love? Let's get a flush. Oh, early love, where are you? Where are you when I need you? Oh, my God. Okay, wait. Here is flush unregulated capitalism. All right, there we go. Unregulated capitalism. I don't know if that would show. Hang out. I want to test something. Just a second. I want to see if this works. It worked. I haven't fixed my my Stream Deck in a long time. All right, that's cool. It worked. All right. And all right. Let's see. That was low. Yeah, I know it's low on the video because I haven't set up my Stream Deck in a long time properly, but at least it was a good graphic, right? Oh, all right. There's a lot of you. Holy crap, there was a lot of and I see I've got 70 likes. Thank you. And I've got my obligatory down from whoever follows me to every single show, which I think is Going South, Torstein Vidal, probably, because I can't think of who else would do it every single time. Hey, Connor. Good to see you. I was in the hospital recently for hernia surgery. I hope you're well. Guess what? I'm going in for laparoscopic stomach surgery after being in the hospital with peritonitis. I was very sick. Felt like I had been shot. Oh my gosh, Nadia, you're so generous. Chambers. Theobros, as in theological bros, not obros. Okay, theobros, like the theopathocracy we live in, or the psychopathocracy we live in. Oh my, we live in the psychopathocracy. And that's another thing I'm going to be doing something on. The word psychopathocracy. I've been finding a whole bunch of stuff lately. Whole bunch of stuff. Okay. You don't know New York City? You don't pay attention? Yeah, well, New York City pays for all the red counties. Yeah. Psychopathocracy. Yep. I started a video on it, and I've been reading all up on it. That's where we live. We live in a psychopathocracy. Abso-fucking-lutely we do. Yes, we do. Or the theocratic, plutocratic, kakistocracy ruled by spies. All of the above. All of the above. Yeah, nothing short of absolute catechism will change the overall trajectory. Oh, boy. Yeah, Dale, these are good subject areas. I've got a lot to want to talk about. That's why I'm going to start the other channel, which I keep saying, and I'm not going to use wait what, but every day I wake up, I have to know if I feel okay or if I don't feel okay, because after this, I'll probably have to lay flat for at least an hour just to get over, just to get over. Oh, I love you too. You love the Fox video. Oh, honey. Yeah, well, let's hope I can get the raised beds this year. Harvey, my neighbor, came and measured already last year, and I've got to go over there and make sure that he is still going to do it, because I can't do the bending and all those things that I used to do. I just can't do it. I need help here, and I'm not embarrassed to say it. I need help. I've got a place for people to camp. Yeah, Nadia, let's see. Kakistocracy is the rule by the worst, to contrast with aristocracy. Etymologically, breaking the rule by the best differs from kakistocracy, which is ruled by spies. There's a whole lot of aristocracy out there. Your father gave you a bat for Christmas. The first time you tried to play with it, it flew away. Rodney Dangerfield. Yeah, that was good. That was good. Oh boy, I like that one. That was good. It flew away. All right, you've been a wonderful audience, and I love that you put up with all the bullshit I set up, and all the things I like to do. And it's not a hard setup for Sunday for some reason, but anyway, Tuesday night, if I can get this done, is going to be a little bit different. I'm not going to do Last Week at Collapse. I'm going to talk about intentional communities, but in a real different way. Okay? Something that you guys probably not used to, because it's something I really never knew anything about. Certain way of living. And I hope I can get that done, and I hope I'm well enough and I don't all of a sudden feel like shit on Tuesday, where like this week where I just can't do these shows. Sunday morning seems to be good for me. It really does. Hi. Hello. Oh, Sandy baby, someday when high school is done, somehow, some way, our two worlds will be in one heaven forever and ever. Oh, please say you'll say, Sandy, oh, Sandy. Could I love you guys anymore? Yeah, great chat. Everyone was kind and patient with each other. It was beautiful. Yeah. And I'll go back. I'll probably read today. A lot of times I don't, I probably should, because I probably should be making clips and I should be putting more things up. I've been doing a few shorts and all. And I should do all that YouTube crap, but I just don't. And it really, I don't. And now with gardening season coming and my surgery and all, there's going to be a lot for me to do. So volunteers, I might have a big party this year. Thinking about it. Talking to Justin and Scott, my 3 Domingos. And I got plenty of camping and all. And I had my big one in 2018, and I might have another one. I would really like to have a big party this year. I said it last year, and then I didn't feel good enough. But you know what? Oh, and Gary, thank you for all of those donations for memberships. Now I can do a members only. Thank you, Gary. You're so generous. We have to talk. I know Gary's got a big project in the making, and he's working with Emily over at American Resiliency. So, the things that I like to do and put people together, that's what I love to do. Highlight others, bring people together. It's just the best. It really is. It's the best feeling to bring people together. And I love you so much, all of you. And I want to thank you again for being with me. on this Sunday. It's really becoming my favorite. And you know what? When gardening season comes, I'm going to still make sure that things are done on Sunday and I can go out in the afternoon and stay here. Because I really do like this a lot. And I have the most energy. I'm getting tired at night. You know? It was 50? Oh my, Gary! Wow, everybody. We all need to owe Gary a debt of gratitude. Holy shit. It's your going to church time. Well, this was. So, yeah. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. And you know what? That's why I want, but you can see why I may want a bit of a political channel too. In due time. Because, yeah, he's a fucking legend. Yeah, where is it? Where is it? Where is it? Gary is a fucking legend. Yay, 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 yay. Gary, you are a legend. And we're going to do that show because everybody's got to hear what he's thinking and what he's doing, and something he's been working on a very, very long time. You guys are the best. So let's put the music up a little bit. And I put the name of the music in this time. And let's dance. Woo! Dancing is really good for you, everybody. Just don't hurt yourself. I love you guys. It's the best.